Artificial intelligence is changing the game, but do you truly know what it is and how it works? Your discovery starts now. Welcome back to Expert Connections. I'm your host, Julie Holton. With me today, Jesse Flores of SuperWebPros. Hey, Jesse, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Julie, always great to be here.
I am excited to dive in today, Jesse, because we get asked so many questions by business owners about how they can start incorporating AI into their business, or should they consider incorporating AI? What is AI on a business sense? So let's dive into that today, Jesse. First, I want to start with, how do you know if you should start considering whether, even spending the time into researching AI?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. It's a massive topic. So here's what I would say about this. So there's two different ways I would imagine answering that question. So one is using AI tools that already exist off the shelf. We'll talk about that. And the second would be whether or not you should be using AI for a competitive advantage inside of your business. And those are two slightly different use cases. So let's take the first use case, whether or not you should be using AI tools for yourself and for your business for productivity. So the reality is there's probably a good chance you already are. If you're using a smartphone, if you're using Canva for background removal and for a smart image editing, you're probably already using some type of AI as a tool. There are other interesting tools like, I think you pronounce it Synestia, which allows you to create video presentations. So like, let's say, for instance, you have training videos for your staff, you can upload a script and it will automatically generate a human avatar that will present that information for you. This is great if you're trying to do some training or you want some exploration, some informational videos on your website. There's tools like Tome, T-O-M-E, that will allow you to upload some information and it will automatically generate a really nice, engaging presentation for you. And even tools like Otter AI, which will allow you to record conversations you're having with people, and then it'll summarize those into a couple of bullet points, highlight to-dos, right? And these are tools that exist off the shelf that, frankly, everybody should be investigating in different ways to either make themselves or their team more productive in terms of communication and workflow, okay? So that's kind of one massive bucket. The second bucket, though, and I think the one that's going to create and transform industries, are people that find ways to develop AI for their business for a competitive advantage. Now, to do that, you really need three things. One, you need a process that is repetitive, okay? The second is you need a process that is, let's call it, that requires some discretion, but not variable, not wide variances in discretion. So, sometimes the answer is A, B, C. Actually, sometimes the answer is any letter, but it's never going to be a word, right? Like that's how different, like that's how variant we're talking about. And then finally, you've got data, you've been tracking information in that you can then use to start training an AI, okay? So if you have those three things, that's usually a good starting point to say, man, there's probably a way to automate this process with an AI-based tool, which will allow us to get a competitive, a transformative edge over our competition, because on the marketplace, this thing doesn't exist in my industry to solve this problem. I'll give a very, very concrete example, right? So we have a client that is in commercial roofing, and they're down in Arkansas, and they work with a large retail chain that has thousands of massive big box stores around the country. And they staff people to go around and drive around, all of these stores, and they climb up on roofs and they're taking lots and lots and lots of pictures, because you can imagine the roof expense bill gets pretty large for thousands of multi-thousand square foot, multi-100,000 square foot distribution centers. Right. And so they've got all their employees going up, taking these pictures, saving them in Dropbox, and then ultimately somebody has to go through and filter out these pictures and decide, give the roof a score. It's not obvious that that needs to be done by a person. It's only done by a person because they didn't know a better way. So we're working with them right now to do a computer vision AI that will essentially allow for a drone to fly over, take those pictures, and then generate the output in actually a richer way than the humans could, because drones don't sleep and drones can process data much faster. And AIs can process data much faster than a person looking at an image can, right? Repetitive, right? Low variance, and they have the data in this case being photos. And so with those three things, we're able to build a product in their business that will allow for them to compete in a way nobody else in their industry is currently able to compete. So those are the three factors I'd be thinking about if I was, interested in this space for myself.
Jesse, it also seems as we wrap up here that there are going to be a lot of spin-offs that we see from this, new companies starting, new industries forming. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. So, I mean, I've even already had this conversation with this particular client that if this goes well, right, then why not just make their business reselling this software to everyone else in their industry? And now you're no longer one of the people in the gold rush trying to go dig for gold. Now you've just given somebody a brand new shovel. And, that's what they always say, right? The people selling the shovels are the ones that make the money in the gold rush. And so absolutely, if you find this problem and you can solve it for your business, you might have a large capital cost up front to work with someone like us or someone else to build it, but it will create a brand new stream of revenue once it works. And that could in fact transform your business and your industry.
Huge opportunities here. Lots of shovels to be created. Jesse, awesome. Thank you for sharing your insights today. So much more on the topic of AI. We have demos. We have a look at the legal insights, our legal connections, diving into what we need to know about copyrights and trademarks, what you need to know about protecting your copyrights and trademarks, and also what not to do to infringe on others. So all of that part of this series. Jesse Flores from SuperWebPros, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.